Got your crapper on?
That's it.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. We're coming at you from Oconomowoc. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the rut. This is it. This is what we live for. We live for all of this. I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys that listen don't listen or live for the podcast like I do. But certainly getting in the woods. I'm still chilled to the bone right now.
I'm only here because it was on the way home.
I bet you my face is pretty red right now. I just feel like
a little bit. You got some wind today. You were in the woods all day.
Yeah. It was nice. It's a nice day to be in the woods all day. The all-day sit.
We all got to be in the woods today, and Matt included, right?
Matt included. Yeah, everyone's seen deer. I even saw a deer.
I didn't see a deer.
Oh, you saw a turkey.
I shot at a turkey. Greg, I shot at a turkey.
You did. Nice.
Yes, I did. I missed it. Shot right underneath him.
So the turkey shamed you a little bit.
Yeah, and then about an hour later, he came running back past me, and I got on full draw on him again. But something spooked him, and he was on the move, and I didn't want to waste another arrow.
Well, we're brought to you by Half Rack. Go to half-rack.com. Use code OHP. Buy a bunch of shit. This is the time to buy it. Go nuts.
It's the rut. Buy it.
Like, yeah, right. Whatever you need, go get it now.
Even if you don't need it, buy it.
Buy it. Figure it out.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Spartan Forge been on that all damn day. Go wild. Been seeing people tag stuff near me, trying to get a sense of what's going on in my neck of the woods. But that's actually something I'm trying to not do right now because I can't go on the damn internet without seeing someone drop a giant buck or even a doe or even a spike. Like, congratulations, everybody. Good for you. I'm really happy for everybody.
It's a weird smile.
You say that with a little bit of spite to your voice.
No
yeah,
spite.
he had a spidey smirk on his face,
All
too.
happiness. I was full attitude today, though. I had my sticks, my X-Wing. Man, I just love it. I'm getting down. I'm just tying little Amstel rope. No big deal. Rope, big deal. Everything's fast and efficient. I was like, this is great. I've never had it this good in my life as a deer hunter.
The length, it's all like that length where you can wrap it twice, and then and that is very slow. I'll say that is absolutely a wonderful. It's so simple, but like it's beautiful.
The big stuff like that matters.
Yeah.
They thought of a lot of good stuff. The tree I was on today was like one of those I don't know, like a shagbark tree or something. Not a great tree for anything, by the way.
Wow.
So that's the only one I could get into to do what I needed to do, but yeah, it worked out all right. Anyway, here we are. Greg's not here because he's a little bitch.
Right away. Talk shit when a man's not in front of you.
That's right. I can say it now. You're not here, bitch.
That's true. That's true, sweetness. Don't worry, I'll get you back.
What are you going to do to my back? Stay away from my backside. All right, come on.
That's right.
You know, squirrely on me here, Greg. Speaking of squirrels, I got some pretty cool footage of a red squirrel that was getting real pissed at me. And
was he looking at you?
Oh,
and doing
yeah. No, he was doing this like, he was there, twitch, and he did this like crazy scream and run away and then come back. And I was like, oh my God, it scared the shit out of me.
Eric's bullying all the squirrels.
Or squirrels are bullying him.
The spirit animal of my son and my middle son. Can't wait to show him later.
Oh,
psychotic little animal.
Did you get that on the GoPro?
No, I got my phone. He was just right next to me. Did some GoPro stuff, like an interview for myself.
When you do an all-day sit, you make friends with some weird things. Squirrels, the leaf that keeps blowing and making the one weird noise. You just get to know a lot of weird
you
things.
Start to get real in tune. There's a, like I was, I'm in like a, I don't know. I wouldn't call it suburban area, but I'm like, you can hear shit. You can hear neighboring homes and such. And I don't know what was going on at this lady's house, but it sounded like my house, but worse. And I was like, well, thank God I'm not the only one. She's like, unlock the door now. It's still like dark outside. The kids locked her out of something. And she was pissed. She's like, open the door now. She's like freaking out.
Pipe down, lady. I'm trying to have some peace and quiet over here.
I texted Holly. I was like, I'll let you know however your morning's going. I guarantee it's not as bad as this, Mom.
Oh,
Let me send you
man.
a snippet.
I was like, could I record this somehow? This is fucking great. She was pissed. And they were not letting her in. It was either locked out of the house
Do you
or
think
the
it
car.
was the car?
I don't
or the
know.
house?
I don't know. It was pretty wild.
I can just see the kids' faces. It's just so my kids would do.
Yeah, that's what mine would too. I'm like, it's not funny, you little a-holes. You know?
Well, they're all hopped up on Halloween candy, so
That's probably what it was. It's a good point.
you suffer the wrath, man.
It's November. Let's talk about what we're all doing here. Not here, but like what we're all doing with our season to some degree. Greg, you're working over your piece of property. Derek, you got a property you're honed in on pretty tightly, and I'm going to be just bouncing around. I don't know what I'm doing, but I did get to some part of the property you're hunting with Keegan on, what was that, Saturday?
I think so. Saturday morning?
Morning to 4 o'clock. I had to be home by 4 o'clock for a trick or treat. And I was definitely in over my skis on that property. Or was that is that how the saying goes? In over my skis?
I don't know that one.
I felt like I was out of my depth.
That one I know. That's right.
I don't know what it is.
Why is that? Explain.
Both of these deer that are on the wall in here, there was no buck sign for either of these two deer. But they were there, and I got them, so that's interesting.
You know, where you shot Big Fella last year, there was all sorts of buck sign. You just didn't go in and see it, which is actually not a bad thing because you weren't spreading your scent all over the place.
So when you crossed the river, Greg, is that where you saw a buck sign?
No, there was buck sign in right. We walked past buck sign, Derek. When I left his truck and walked down the path, he's like, "Oh yeah, my tree's right down through here. It's like 40 yards away." There were rubs all over the place. There was buck sign all over every tiny little tree.
Buck sign. There was like a little tiny tree with a small rub on it. I didn't.
Yeah, but you don't know that that buck could have bent that tree over and rubbed it. You don't know.
Well, right, but that's what I'm saying. It's like there's nothing telling me at that point in time like there's a monster here.
There was a big one.
I just it didn't the sign wasn't there for me to like believe that, but that was the only spot that I thought could make sense for me to hunt that day. Same thing with the other one on the wall.
But even like through the backside of that thicket before you crossed the river, there were tall rubs. There were tall rubs in all that buckthorn. When we got across the river, there was just a heavily beat set of trails. I might have saw one rub down there. That was it.
There were a lot of thick, big trails, and if you watched last season's footage, you hear me saying it's like a cow trail. Like it looked like it was beat to shit, you know.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know, that could be does. Like, what do I know? And Derek's over here, like I saw one big buck track, and I'm gonna hunt that spot because I was like, Jesus, you saw a track, and that's what's doing it for you. Like, I can't even tell the difference between a doe track and a buck track. Like, what the hell's going on over here? But I say that because the property that Derek's hunting is so damn big and vast. It's really hard to distill. And there's just no sign.
There's not a lot in there.
But
I don't know why.
That doesn't mean there isn't a deer.
There's a lot of deer in there. But they don't leave sign in like the traditional ways. I'm not really sure why, but like even walking around today, not a ton of rubs.
No.
Not a ton.
Even the property I'm hunting, there's not a lot of rubs.
You just didn't see it yet, Greg.
Oh, I see what you did there. But like,
nice.
I was just thinking, I'm the rub maniac. That's like my jam. I love the rubs. But like Eric's buck here on like any property other than like, I kind of know what the terrain looks like a little bit because I hunted near where you shot him. But like, it's a lot of buckthorn and scrub, which like that buck's 23 inches wide. Like anywhere that has big trees, that buck's going to wrap his antlers around a big tree. And he's going to have like super deep gouges where his brow tines are. He's going to rub big stuff. He's got a wide rack. Bucks that have little narrow racks where their beams come in close, like they can't rub big trees. Well, when all the trees are, the size of your thumb or like to wrist, it's hard to tell, like, is there a big buck? Because there's not that many trees like that can really go, holy crap, like that's a huge rub. So like Greg was saying, the height, that can make a difference, but sometimes those small ones are deceiving because it looks like, oh, there's a whole bunch of small ones, but here it's some freaking huge buck whose beams cross. He can't get anything in his rack, so he's just, turning his head sideways and rubbing the crap out of a bunch of little ones. It can be really hard to tell.
It's interesting. It's a good point. I don't know. I just find it to be a point that I wanted to talk about. We do have a caller online. I wasn't expecting someone to call in so fast. We'll get back on the tracks. Let's. I'm not sure if I'm reading this right. First fuck up could mean first buck. Hey, Zach, you're live on the show. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going
Love
good.
following the podcast, watching live. Awesome.
Good to have you.
Did I
got my
read the...
first buck today.
Oh,
Sent
first...
you guys a little photo of that.
Yes, that's right.
It was just a wild day.
Congrats.
The transcription read first fuck up.
Oh no!
Well, the buck fucked up.
Oh, that's not great.
There it is. Oh, that's funny.
Congrats, man. Let's. You want to give us a rundown of what happened?
Yeah. So, well, I'm an adult onset hunter. Been following the Onset podcast.
Oh, cool.
Learned out west from a couple of guys. Retired from the Air Force. Moved to Philadelphia, and have been hunting solo for the last 2 seasons here. A couple of does. Got a doe 2 weeks ago. About 45 minutes north of Philly. Went up today, and as I got into the parking lot, all the weather's great, good wind, and there's way more cars in the parking lot than have ever been during a weekday at 9 a.m.
Welcome to November.
Right? Public land style. And so the buck I had been tracking and had a good pattern on finally after reading topography, spending 6-7 sits out there, got that doe a couple weeks ago, was in an area and there's 3 new pop-up blinds that were already set up right where I wanted to be. So I said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go to the spot where I got the doe, found the same exact tree from the ground, set up in my spot. I had good wind, could see down into the little marsh gas line cut. And within 10 minutes, a doe came in, flew at me, stomped off, caught my wind. I was like, well, I was going to take a nap. Might as well do that nap now. And then right as I was about to doze off, I hear something off to the side. The way that it's set up, there's a couple down trees that funnel deer around in front of me. And I see a buck coming in. And all I did was check to make sure it was legal with the 3 points on one side. And this buck came right into me so fast. He was at 4 yards staring right at me. And I couldn't even get my crossbow up. And then as he came around, I pulled the trigger and I didn't actually turn the safety off. Had another shot at about 7 or 8 yards, quartering away, nailed it perfect, and he dropped in 10 yards.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Nice work, man.
Nice.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. On the ground, too.
Incredible experience.
So did he have any intuition that you were there, or was he pretty clueless?
Totally clueless. No idea.
That's the best.
Cool. That's awesome, dude.
How's your heart doing? You can get the shakes pretty good.
It's a weird thing. I don't get the shake after a harvest. So I've got 2 does and a cow elk from Arizona in the last 2 years, and those have been my only harvest. So this is my first buck or bull. And my buddy, who I learned to hunt, he's like, "Why aren't you more excited?" I'm like, I don't know. I just don't get that adrenaline rush after, and I don't quite understand why. But I'm super pumped, and it always happens. The last time I went out and got a doe from that same tree 2.5 weeks ago, my wife's like, "Hey, why don't you take all day? Leave a little early after the kids wake up. Stay until sunset and come back." And by 10:45, I've got a harvest and I'm back for dinner.
Damn, who's your wife? She should talk to my wife.
She is awesome. That is true.
Very cool, man. Happy for you. Great job on the harvest on the first buck.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And once I saw the 3 points on one side, I didn't care anymore. And then when I got up to it, it was 4 on one side and 3 on the other. So even bigger than expected. So I'll take it.
That's a great moment.
Oh yeah, man. Congrats. Big deal. Excited for you. Happy for you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to that, man.
Yeah.
First buck. Well done.
Oh, yeah. Broke out the 18-year-old Glenmorangie that a coworker sent to me from Scotland tonight. We had a little drink to celebrate.
There you go. A little peaty scotch.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks
So
for
now,
the call. Yeah.
is your season done then, or do you go out with firearms, or?
Well, I have 3 more doe tags, 1 more for that area, and then 2 more kind of closer into Philadelphia. Got a couple good spots for it, so I'll definitely keep going out, but I'm not going to go out tomorrow. Maybe get more bulk.
There you go.
Cool, man. Enjoy the moment. Thanks for the call. Congrats.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Yeah, see ya.
I forgot to look at the comments, but Oak Tree Dreams is like, "What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What's up, guys?"
Sorry, Drew.
What is up? Like,
True.
so, Dan Furcus thinks you're in jail, Greg, based on your background.
Fair assumption.
Levi
Fair
says I'm stepping on his territory because he does Wednesday night lives. Sorry,
Levi. Not sorry.
Yeah. We should just collab. Another week, Bites of Dust, watching from North Carolina. James, I'm just reading the comments real quick to get through them all. People like to be recognized. James is going to bed because he's going to get up early tomorrow to go hunt. Good for you, buddy. That's a smart choice.
Shoot one for me.
And then Tyler, I can't say your last name, Lewick. What's up? Pablo Ramirez, what's the number? I put on the screen. It's 262-757-4122. If you want to call in, you can. Oh, looks like he's here. Let's bring him in. Hey, Tyler, you're live on the show.
Hey, what's up, bud?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going. I'm all the way out here in Kansas. Just got off work.
What time is it in
Saw
Kansas?
you guys are live.
Kansas is what, an hour later than us? So is it almost 9 p.m. there? Am I right?
No, it's we're Central Time.
Oh, well, it's the same time.
Almost 8 o'clock.
All right, we're on the same time zone then. So how's the rut going for you so far?
Oh, well, I've had a couple opportunities. That's another reason why I was calling in. I had a couple opportunities at this 150 class deer out on public, and one Sunday I had an opportunity at them and missed, and wasn't 100% sure if it was me or the bow. And then this last Sunday I had another opportunity at them and popped the shot off that was way low. And so I figured out it was my bow sight must have been hit or something, so it's off. And I was curious on how many opportunities do you guys, in your guys' experience, do you think I would have at a deer like that, and him being on public and then missing 2 different shots on him?
Are you hunting from the same stand every time, the same tree, same spot, or are you bouncing around? What does that look like?
I've actually been listening to your guys' podcast and a handful of others, and so I completely went mobile this season. I don't hunt more than 2 times in a certain area anymore, and the 2 times I had opportunities at them, I used the wind to my advantage to be set up on where the deer are coming out from, out of the bedding areas, and those are the two times I was playing the wind is when I had opportunity at them.
Well, it sounds like you're doing it right.
If it were me, man, first of all, I don't know if I get the chance at all, let alone another one. And if I had the chance, I what was it, Greg? 2021, I whiffed on that buck.
Pancake.
Yep.
Yeah, you whiffed on him, and he never came back through there. Like, after you took a shot, we never picked him on camera ever again on that property. He ended up moving to another piece, basically across the highway, and then I was picking him up over there.
So to answer your question, like 2 chances on a buck like that, I had a buck I didn't even get to draw back on, about 140 inch, I think, is what we've come up with here. And That buck never showed up ever again either. I think those big ones, they get spooked or they get threatened like that, and they tuck and run. So I don't know. You got 2 chances, and that's pretty good. I don't know. You'd be hard pressed to get a third, I think, but you must be doing something right.
Well, the other thing was, it's like, I'm pretty sure he does, but he doesn't know he's being hunted, because he came back out about 10 minutes later, back out into this field with, when there was 2 other smaller bucks out there. He came back out about 10 minutes after that, but at that time it was dark, no more shooting light, and I pretty much did like one of those makeshift coyote calls with my mouth to try to get him off the field so I can get out of the stand.
I don't know, man. I think you got a chance. I think you got a chance. You said you were
you got a chance.
If he didn't smell you and you blew him off the field with a coyote howl, which is, I mean, yeah, it kind of works, but it's better than just you walking out. Things are about to get squirrely in Kansas. I know it's a little bit later than when the rut happens here in Wisconsin, but I think you got a chance, man. I think if you keep playing
Derek,
it smart,
the optimist, I'm
bouncing around. Well, I'm trying to give some other. I've had my chance at my big buck, and I'm hoping that I can get around another round on him. So I'm gonna go on the side of optimism here. I think you can get back on him. Probably in a different area, but
you got to give everybody good mojo, man. That's the only way you're going to get anything in return.
Yeah, sorry to put my mojo on you. I just I really played.
You're good, guys.
Little dose of realism is good.
I second guess myself, so that's why I'm like, I want to get some guys with a little bit more skill in it to ask them, get their opinion on the matter.
Well, it sounds like you're doing some really good things there, bouncing around, using the wind in your advantage. Just to have 2 opportunities tells you you're on the right track. Just keep doing what you're doing. Read the sign, set up with the wind, and make it happen, man.
Yeah, let us know if you end up coming in contact with him again. It'd be cool to get a follow up from you.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sure send you some kill pics and everything on online. I'll send it to you.
Rock on. Well, cheers to chasing shooter bucks like that, man. Good luck, and I hope you close the book on him.
Go get him.
Yeah, me too. I hope you guys have a great season as well.
All right, thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're working on our season. We're working on our season. Our season's coming along. I wouldn't say it's coming together, but it's coming along.
It's coming along.
I don't know, Greg. I don't know. Back to what we were saying. If more calls come in, we'll grab them. But distilling down big tracts of land is difficult.
It is.
Bucks aren't leaving super obvious sign, so it's hard to know where to put your efforts towards. If it's
in the terrain too. I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm hunting, there isn't a lot of big trees either. So getting back to the whole rub, discussion, I look for height because I don't have a lot of big trees where deer are going to rub. It's willows, and you might get lucky and hit some oaks, but I don't have oaks I can hunt. It's all on private or pieces I can't access. So I rely on what I find in the red brush and the willows, and any poplar trees that get tore up. It is one thing. I got one property where there's poplar trees, and I'll know when there's a good buck when it's a 6-inch poplar tree and it's rubbed waist high. It's going to be a good buck in there. But
do you have those? Sorry, Greg. Do you have those little groups of popples that get hit every year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the ones I'm talking about. You've been in there. In the last couple of years, we haven't had anything big in there. This year, we might have something big in there, but so far, I've not seen it. We'll see. And it all depends on the pressure on the other, adjoining properties. If guys are laying off of them, then the deer have no reason to be pushed into public, because the public is getting hit by pheasant hunters, duck hunters, and other deer hunters. So I'm finding cameras all over the place. So I'm resorting to a harder section of public to hit through some more private access, and a nice little private piece every once in a while. Right now, it's not been good. The public side of it's been better. And that's where I saw deer tonight. I had a forker right underneath my tree. He came and checked a scrape that was right off the edge, and then went right into the cattails, and I could have shot him at 15 yards. Where he was under the tree, it was just too thick. I couldn't get a shot at him if I wanted to. And then I had a yearling doe come right underneath the tree and hang out for about 5 minutes and then take off into the cattails. So it was pretty eventful there for a while. And then I heard a lot of crashing around in the cattails the last 20 minutes before close, and I spotted a buck that was pretty decent. Looked like a tall framed 8-pointer. And sure enough, he showed up on the camera right after I left. So I think I'm in the right place. I'm not over hunting it. I did miss a doe out of that spot, but that was way out onto the ag field. So I don't think I'm educating them too much. Try not to anyway. Every day there's deer showing up in the area, and there's fresh sign being made, a couple more rubs, and the trails are pounded. A lot of tracks, and some big tracks too. So there's some bucks using that area.
And I think anyone listening live or who hears this in the next few days, we were talking about rubs, and as Greg just mentioned, like some big tracks showing up now. Obviously, the rubs are going to become less and less important, less and less relevant, and even scrapes. Scrapes might be really important for the next 4 days for big bucks. They might be checking them, but at some point, all of a sudden, all the big bucks are just going to completely abandon the scrapes. You're going to see 1.5-year-old bucks running them. And the big ones are going to know, like, I need to be checking those doe pods. Like, they don't give a crap about scrapes. And all of a sudden, all that beautiful sign that you have been focusing on is not going to mean a damn thing.
Nope. I would say we got a good week of them using some scrapes yet, or they're just going to be walking downwind of them and checking them. They're not even sticking their face in them anymore. I've got, video evidence of that the past couple of years on my trail cameras. They don't even look at the scrape. They just kind of walk right past it and keep on going. They already know what it is because they're coming from the downwind side of those scrapes, following their route and going, little bucks have been hitting this. I don't smell any fresh doe sign in here. I'm just going to keep cruising. That's what they do.
I heard some grunting this morning. Can't say what it was. I don't know what it was. I mean, the guy on the wall here, the morning I killed him, there was a bunch of grunting going on. I never saw the buck doing any of the grunts. This guy didn't make a peep. I used my grunt tube to try to call something in. The doe came out, and then I thought, I was like, oh man, whatever.
Were they chasing around in front of you?
Not in front of me, just off in the thick stuff. I could hear it all right there, but I couldn't see it. Eventually, the doe busted out into the open, and then this guy was across the river watching all that happen. And then when he saw the doe, I think that was the affirmation he needed to be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to come and play. But this morning, what I heard was quite a bit further away from me than any action I had last season. And it got me excited for a second because I'm like, oh, cool. Like, first it out on the rut, like my first day of paid time off. Like, all right, cool. I picked the right spot. Let's go, and I'm freaking out, man. It was exciting for a second, and then nothing, materialized from that. And then at the end of that, I had, I think, a small buck probably just not read the script. He came in like he was gonna, and he just went the wrong direction. Right direction for him, wrong direction for me. And even if it was a small buck, I might have just let it rip. I was pretty jacked out of the gate. I was like, wait a second, Eric, it's day one. But but I was like, if I could put a kill on something the first day,
pretty sweet.
I was like, okay. But to your point about the sign, I was hunting a spot that's where most of the sign that I had seen in a very concentrated area, in an overlooked spot. Wind was in my favor. Everything felt good. And I wanted to throw the whole day at that spot to see what the morning and evening activity would be like. In morning, nothing happened. Evening, something happened. Just not exactly how I would have thought it was going to go. So I don't know. I might press in further. There's some other areas on that property that had some intel that I could key in on. But again, I don't know. Maybe
because you did like one big scouting loop around that.
I did a whole day, like a whole half a day of scouting there with Keegan on Saturday after we pulled the pin on the property you're on, because I was like, I don't know how to make heads or tails for this damn thing. This is too big.
It's a mess.
I kept going into new spots, and all the new spots, I was like, this is deja vu. It looks like the spot I was just in, but I know that I'm 20 clicks on the map in a different spot. It looked the damn same. Every time I turned a corner, it was like the same. It's like the sea of same. Thick red brush, like open grassy, some tall trees off in the distance. I was like, man, everything looks beautiful. Like, of course, deer are back here, but how you set up on them is tricky. How you figure where they're coming from, I don't know. It all looks the damn same. Like they just got to be back there because, like, how wouldn't they be? It's such a beautiful open spot for them to just go do deer stuff. But
Do deer stuff is
I
right.
don't know. It's tricky. But the fact that you're talking about like the sign is not going to be relevant. Can you talk about that more, you guys? Because until you said that, I'm like, oh, that's new information for me.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, feel free to jump in. But
yeah, I will.
Scrapes, especially, like scrapes are the communication device, like the social hub, right? Like, so the does are hitting them. The bucks have established them. The bucks right now, scrape week, they say, like, it's the end of October into the beginning of November. And like, that's where a lot of these deer are like going to check who's around and see what these does are doing. But in the next, like Greg said, I'd say like you got maybe like 5-ish days, probably max, to capitalize on like bucks, mature bucks that are going to check scrapes during daylight. And then what's going to happen is just their experience is going to tell them these scrapes no longer matter, and I just need to be at the does. Like, all I'm going to do is they'll walk past the scrape, like downwind, like Greg mentioned, if they're traveling through that area. But really what they're going to start doing is they know historically which does come in heat first, because there's some groups that are like, this doe will go in heat a week before the other ones, and they know that. And the biggest bucks will just completely abandon those scrapes. They'll no longer travel on their safety buck routes. They're going to travel ease of resistance and hit as many doe areas as possible. That's when you need to be just setting up downwind of doe bedding areas. And that'll be, I would say, anytime after November 5th, I would do that to kill a mature deer. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I've had cameras run over scrapes that I just don't pick up, and you'll just see buck after buck after buck, 1.5 years, 2.5 that just rule it. They're in heaven because they're like, oh my God, this is my scrape, and they're working it for 10 minutes. It's because the big ones no longer care.
And they're always the first ones. They are always the first ones to start working it back in probably August, just kind of sticking their face in it, if it's a historical scrape, right?
Yeah.
And they're also the first ones to start laying sign on field edges too. Yep. Or transition areas. They're the first ones to kind of get a little rowdy. And, the scrapes might only be, they start off the size of maybe a 5-gallon pail, the diameter of a 5-gallon pail, and they're just barely through the grass. And you'll see some branches starting to get nibbled on and leaves starting to, they're gone. They're missing from the branches after they start chewing on them. But once we start hitting that middle of October, then you start seeing the big fellas coming to visit, chewing on things. And, the 2.5 and 3.5 year old deer, they're kind of ruling the roost. And then you'll get a 3.5 or 4.5 year old in there. I can think of one off the bat that I'd be really happy to connect with, but I don't know. Every time I go in there after him, I never see him. So it's just wrong day, I guess. Or he comes through too early or too late. I never get on him, but, that deer rules all those scrapes. Now, I noticed this year he's not really messing with those scrapes as much. He'll come by, he'll take a look at them, but he's not up in them like he was the past couple of years. So just noticing as a deer ages, they don't partake in that nonsense as much as the young bucks do.
And I kind of told you the story already, like, of my hunt tonight. And I'd love to get Greg's take, not necessarily on what I'm saying right now, but like, there's one other aspect of this that I think Greg does a lot of, and he does it really well. And I would love to talk about that after. But like, I made my way in tonight, and I kind of came up with a path in my mind that I wanted to work my way into the wind and like check a few different spots. And I checked a couple cameras on my way in.
You're like a buck.
I am.
You're like I'm going to work my way this way. I'm going to check these things on the way in.
Yeah, man.
That's the idea. That's the idea. Like, how to use the wind to your advantage so you're not, but like, it's the opposite. They're trying to gain everything. I'm trying to alert
mitigate
nothing, right? Like, but I made my way in and made it to, I told you I made it almost to my last camera, which is where I've had a lot of buck travel on this one trail. It's on a transition. It follows an edge. It's thick. And then it cuts across a thick area. And I've had a lot of buck travel on that all summer and all fall. And I had set my stand down, I told you, by a tree that I was like, I can shoot this trail. I've never hunted this tree, never prepped it. I was like, I'm going to set my stuff down and go check my camera because I think this tree could work if it looks good. So I went over there, and before I got to my camera, I looked down the trail into the thicket, and there was a scrape. Freshly opened up in the leaves. There was dirt thrown. I was like, all right, that's an awesome sign. I'm probably going to hunt here. I took another step, and I looked to my right, and there was a tree about the size of my calf that was shredded, orange bark hanging on the same trail. And I was like, yep, not even going to touch this camera. I'm hunting here right now. Because like in my head, it was like, this is a buck who's frustrated, like an old buck. That's not a scrape. Like where he was one of them, not like a community scrape. It wasn't like a signpost scrape. It was like he was pissed. He was frustrated. Probably made that rub. Like he wants the does to be an estrus. Or there was another buck around there, and he was like, they just get pent up. And I was like, this was a big deer who was pent up. He's almost ready to bust. So like scrapes are no longer going to matter for this deer. This is a deer who's pissed. He's traveling. He's trying to cut doe trails. And like, that's why I was like, tonight this could happen. Because like it was hot. It was fresh sign. He's probably going to be walking through here. This could be good. And it didn't end up seeing anything. So maybe he already found a doe. Who knows? But like that was the thought process.
Yeah.
So something I think Greg does really well that I tend to think about a lot more now. And like Zach Varenbaugh talks about this all the time. But it's like your route in. Because like hunting public guys are constantly moving. So they've got to think about how they're going to move through a property. And you do this too. But like how you're going to move through a property to scout it. Like you said you were in plan C tonight or plan D or whatever. But like having multiple spots where you're like this, if it looks good, I can go here. If it doesn't look good, what are you going to do? So like a lot of guys who are just hitting the woods, maybe they start hunting in November. If you have one destination in mind and it looks like absolute garbage when you get there, sorry, you should probably have something else in mind and figure out how you can go from A to B without messing stuff up.
100%. And you also got to be willing to give and take. And a lot of times you're giving up something.
Absolutely.
You're going to hunt an area. The wind is just a little off. This spot that I hunted tonight, this was plan D from the other night. But plan D turned out to be the best option because I kept moving. Plan A was to try and get up in these monster oak trees in the middle of this cornfield where I know there's grass growing. And sure enough, there was. And there was deer tracks and sign. And you could see where bucks had been tearing up dirt and, trying to make scrapes where there was no licking branch, but it was all tore up in there. Young bucks will do that. It was the spot to be because of the amount of security cover just with the corn, and the food was there. There were still some acorns in the dirt, and there's corn there. But you had to make a lot of noise to get there. Luckily, it was windy. I tried like heck to get up into 2 different oak trees. I brought extension straps for my hang-on sticks. Got those to stick to the tree, but got up the tree with the 2 sticks that I brought, because that's all I brought, thinking I could get up just to the first set of limbs. Well, they were just a little out of reach. I could not get up there and get a tree stand. My tree stand still didn't have a long enough strap on it, bottom line. There was just no way I was fitting it in there. So I had to give up on it. I didn't want to, but I had to. There's no place to really sit on the ground. I could have sat in the corn, I guess, but I've already been busted in the corn out there. And I want to get a good shot on a deer. I don't want to be trying to thread the needle again, which I ended up doing anyway, and it did not pay off. But I moved on, followed some more sign. I know where they're coming from. They're coming from the cattails. I'm going to get over to the edge where there's a handful of trees left that I can actually put stands in. And you're going to use a stand. The saddle's not going to be ideal there because of how crazy of an angle and how big the trees are. It's going to be very difficult to fit a saddle in there. Somebody will tell you, yeah, you can do it, but if you don't have the right equipment, you're set up for skinny trees size of a basketball. These are much bigger than a basketball. Tree stand was the way to go. So you got to use all the tools in your tool belt. I've scouted this property a bunch. I've hunted it a year already. I know what to expect. I know where I can use my saddle, and I know where I have to use a tree stand. 98% of that piece of property where there is trees, I have to use a tree stand. I'm just not getting away with a saddle. If I am, I'm making a lot of noise trying to knock branches out. I don't want to do that because the deer are bedding not very far away. I got to be quiet. That's the other thing. You got to be quiet. Don't give that up. Try to be as silent as possible. It's the only way you're going to get in there. And, they might know you make a little bit of noise and they might know something's up and they'll come out alert, but at least they'll give you an opportunity. But
well said.
Yeah. Be very open-minded when you approach a property or when you're hunting for the first time, or if you're just picking a different way of accessing it. I'm accessing it different than I did the first couple times. And what was funny is I did access it through the cornfield where deer definitely could have heard me. Anything north of me would have smelt me because it was a south wind. I got in, walked with the wind in my face, got up across the ditch, over the water, and down the dike and into the patch of willows that I was hunting. I kid you not, but the other 3 times I've hunted this property, I hunted the other side of the ditch and another patch of willows. Those deer were looking for me. When they came out of the corn, my wind was blowing towards them. They looked right in the direction where I've been going in and hunting. They smelled me and they were looking the wrong direction, but they were looking where they knew I was going. I educated them by hunting that spot 3 different times. So it's something else to think about is you hunt a spot 4 times, 2, 3 times, whatever it is. You don't see something in there. It's time to move. Too many guys get hung up on, well, I got to hunt the spot because it's all I have. Well, no, you have to give a little more.
That's like the classic guy who's got the spot, the scrape, right? Like you got the scrape, you got the cell cam on it. Buck's hitting that scrape 3 days in a row. They go in and hunt it. Well, he didn't show up today. Oh, he shows up the next day. Oh, geez, my luck's horrible.
Yeah.
You go and hunt it again. Oh, he didn't show.
The reason he showed is
luck ain't horrible.
Yeah,
that buck has got you pegged.
That deer has you pegged.
Hearing you or seeing you.
Yep, he
when
knows.
you go there.
Exactly.
So when you said like the give or take in the beginning, Greg, I think that was absolutely spot on. And I think what I thought of right away when you said that was not only like give and take for the deer, but like you have to give and take. Like if you want to get, you have to like sometimes give up the easy access route. Like you got to take the shit way. And like people have heard that a million times, but like you actually have to do that. Like, you actually have to walk in the long shit way.
I've gone
you
have
to do that.
South, southern.
You have to endure the suck
all the way down, and then I make a giant L, so then I can work up into the wind of the spot that I'm going to get to. Like, these are things that I've just inherently started to learn over time and do. Where I'm an Okayest hunter, I'll make a lot of dumb mistakes. I almost walked out without my bow. I walked out after my car
today.
and I forgot my saddle on. I got to the tree. I was like, what am I doing? I don't have my saddle. So I had to walk back to the car and go get my saddle. I'm like, my God, man, get it together. But like stuff like that, I'm starting to just do naturally. Like I'm getting better at that. Like, so you talk about like give and take and give up and like whatever you are willing to give up. It's a balancing act. Like you're going to, yes, whatever you just said. I don't need to keep saying the damn thing you just said. What you said makes sense. So for me today, I was like, well, I'm going to throw a whole sit at this one spot because I want to see what happens in the morning, what happens in the evening, because I don't have trail cams, I don't have cell cams, I don't have intel. So I basically was doing an observation hunt with potential opportunity to kill something within 15 yards. And so when that deer came in and didn't read the script precisely, I was like, okay, they were doing what I thought they were doing for the most part. Took a left turn, not a right turn. Like, okay, good to know. They're here. They're grunting. Like, I'm in a good area, but now I got to press in and I got to I got a little closer to where I heard the action. I got to but I got to make sure I use the wind and I got to take the quietest routes. There's no quiet routes to this property. No matter how you dice it, you got to jump into this cattail, nasty buckthorn, trashy shit, make a ton of noise to get to these islands. You're island hopping. And there's just like these, like, they're not islands. There's all these other little pockets of thick shit that's where they're bedded. And like, how do you set up on that? That's where the buck came out of that I saw tonight. But like, okay, good to know. So yeah, it's fun. Like, this is why it's so fun, guys. It's like, you have to put these pieces together. You got to play the game. You got to thread the needles. You got to take risks. You got to do stuff. And it's just wild to me that my battery's gonna die in this camera. That's all right. I'll get it plugged in here. Hopefully, does that work?
It's wild to you that
it's wild to me that at some point in time I didn't. These things weren't I wasn't aware of these things. Like it didn't occur to me. I would just go and hunt, and I'd be like, "Well, I didn't see anything today." The deer didn't walk by where I was sitting. I thought you would sit enough, and eventually something would walk by. And I thought that's how people got big deer over. Or, you've just been hunting longer. You've had more sits where more deer would have walked by you. Of course, you would have gotten one by now. And this whole idea of getting aggressive today, the little like devil on my shoulders, like, get down and go. The wind is light. You can go. Like, the deer might think you're a deer. Go figure it out. Go press in. And I was like, no, I just need to be patient. I have a week, which will evaporate fast. But I'm like, I want to see how this plays out here while I'm totally safe from the wind. Like, the wind has my back in this particular spot. I'm not going to ruin anything right now. Let's just see what happens here. And then I'll make more choices as the week progresses and I get less options.
There you go. That'll whittle it down for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll work you into hopefully it will be the right spot. And if not.
But I didn't need to be aggressive for aggressive's sake. Like there wasn't a lot of pressure where I was at. I do have some things on my side right now. I am holding some chips. I didn't need to go pot in on the table out of nowhere because I heard some grunts. Like I could just chill out for a second. I could place a couple chips on the table.
And it's day one. It's an observation set.
We'll call. All right. Tomorrow, maybe I'll raise it a little bit and see if I can get a little return on that bet, kind of thing. But
maybe this is a moot point, and maybe it doesn't really pay for anyone else. But I'm going to say it just because I had a little realization today after I walked in. The way that I'm accessing the same property that I'm hunting is I take the main trail that everyone's walking in on for a little ways, but then I'm like getting off of it and accessing in the way that I've always thought is best. So like the first time I came in, this is the way I did it because I thought it was best. And I thought other people also did this. But then after today and checking 3 cameras that I have that aren't that far from how I access it in the way I think is best, I don't have any people on my cameras. First of all, I was surprised my cameras are still hanging there. I'm like, oh my God.
You're not picking anybody up.
It's still here. Like, that's so good.
Yeah, that's excellent.
It's so good. And there's no one on them. And
I'm like, so that area is overlooked.
I'm thinking, I don't think anyone else is just walking in. Like, because if you looked on a map, I don't think it would be overlooked. But I don't think if you're not walking the way I'm walking, it's overlooked. Like, it's hard to get to. But if you're going the way I'm going, it's not terrible. But I think I'm the only one going that way. So what I'm getting at is sometimes going in just a different way, like instead of walking down the access path, walking down the road like you did today, walking down the road 100 yards and then going in. Like, the deer have seen people for 3 months in Wisconsin. They've seen people walk in, like they're watching, they're tuned in on those trails.
Yep.
You come in from any other way, and all of a sudden in November, that might be the difference to like not alerting the doe groups or, just sneaking in and having an opportunity that if you walked in the other way, that opportunity might be absolutely squashed.
Or you can totally blow it up. I don't know. But I hear you.
Yeah.
It's good logic. I like it. I did run into a cell cam on the property you're in, close to where I had flagged some of that sign that I was talking about.
In the hardwoods from the edge of that marshy grass.
Yep. If you go in and loop around, eventually
it was on like the northeast side.
Yeah, because we were just trying to get the hell out of there at that point.
There was a big bed like 50 yards from that camera. I think that guy had found it. It's a decent spot.
I waved. That's what I do. I got
that guy's probably going, oh shit, someone's back here.
Well, it's funny about that because I'm not actually hunting it. So that guy now thinks there's pressure that doesn't exist. So I just gave him bad intel because I'm not coming back there.
That's fine.
So it's so dynamic because you have stuff like that happening too. Where like now the hunter's going, shit, there's people back here now. Or,
that guy knows.
Yeah, probably.
He knows.
Well, maybe he knows who we are and he goes, I'm going to worry about these
Oh,
jackasses.
God, that
guy. We got another caller. I think it's, we got Noah. I think you're live on the show.
Yeah, hey guys.
Hey, Noah.
What's going on, man?
What's going, Noah?
Oh, pretty good. Just got back from my first saddle hunt.
Hey, how'd it go?
Oh, it went pretty good. Just had a little issue. They sent me a normal size one and needed an XL. So it was a little,
little snug on the hips, huh?
extra time to get the XL back through, but they were good about it. So
good to hear.
Sweet.
Hey, if you had your first saddle hunt go pretty well, I'm impressed because my first 5 did not go that well.
I spent a couple hours in my backyard just figuring out how I was going to set it up. So
that was smart.
Yeah.
I made a small adjustment to my saddle setup. For some reason, this is kind of stupid, but like I don't take my quiver off my bow because I don't have like a good way to deal with it.
Dang it.
And I'm really used to shooting it. You guys see me in 3D archery all summer long. I just keep my quiver on.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not something I should do. I don't care, but it's fine for me. That being said,
that's what I do too.
Well, yeah. So I typically hang my bow on the right side of the tree because then the quiver doesn't hit the tree. But that's on my weak side of the saddle.
That is your weak side to the saddle, yep.
But when I shot the deer I got last year, I shot him from my weak side. So that worked out to my advantage. But I anticipated he was going to come from that way, or that's where I was going to be making my shot. Today, though, my anticipated shot would have been on my strong side, my left. So I hung my bow on my left. I was like, oh, weird, my quiver's in the way.
Son of a bee.
I was like, this is weird. Also, by the way, sorry, Noah. I think Greg did Matt use my L rope hook, or did you use it?
No, I don't. Matt did.
All right. Well, I got a bone to pick with Matt because he ruined the. It's got a loop in it. He took the loop out. Now it's like functionless.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
I don't know. It's kind of some kind of.
Is this the good sit one?
No, it's my own.
Oh,
I have a good sit one
from my dad. And I use it as my bow hook because it just cinches down the tree real nice. But he undid the loop. It's like the rope is like fed through itself or something. It's really strange. It's an old thing. But I go to pull it. I'm like, the hell is this? I didn't do this.
It's the old finger trap style where like the rope slides through and it bites.
He undid it. Matt undid it. I saw it in a photo, and I knew that he was hunting with you when Jace was out. And I was like,
well, what was funny, poor Matt. Matt's like, what am I supposed to do with this thing? I said, I think Eric uses it as a bow hanger, but I'm not sure how. I've got my own stuff. No, so he's like, I don't know what this is, but I'm just going to yank it apart and do it how I think it should be done.
Well, I'd go beat up Matt, but he's a lot bigger than me, and I'm a lot smaller than him.
Yeah.
Anyway, Noah, I'm sorry. So, so I was just having some new learnings with my saddle set up today, is what I was going to say.
Yeah, so that went pretty good, but I solved some of my frustrations from the season today. I'm pretty sure.
Sweet.
Let's hear it.
Did you kill something?
Sunday night, I was up at my property, and I missed a 20-yard chip shot on a doe. And so I brought my bow back down here, and I'm shooting in my backyard, and so I changed arrows to a shorter vein.
Okay.
And they were about 6 inches low at 20 yards. And so I'm like, that's weird. So I took it to the range, and then it finally clicked after the range. I used my old longer vein arrows to zero it and set the range tape.
Ah.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
so
things will be different.
That's what did it.
That is definitely a frustration alleviator, I think.
Yeah, because that's my third shot I've missed this year.
So, from 2 of the callers tonight, I think the takeaway is if you have any hint of something being weird with your bow, shoot it at a target, practice it with what you're using, and make sure it is dialed before you bring it to the woods.
Yep. And you guys know...
Greg loves to drop tune his bow every so often.
Well, and mine got snagged actually on Saturday. I snagged it in some brush trying to pull it up in the dark.
Oh, I do that all the time. I hate it.
Yeah, so I thought, boy, I had to really pull to get the thing, and then it kind of swung funny, like something like the rope had wrapped on something, but I couldn't see it. And it tugged, and then it kind of cocked sideways, bounced off the tree, and then came up. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of just glanced at it quick. Well, everything looks fine. Everything looks like it's in place. But when I shot at that doe, I know, like, I should have hit the basketball size opening that I was shooting through. And I ended up catching a little, sapling on the side, just a willow branch. And it threw the arrow off. The arrow still went towards the deer. The deer ducked it narrowly and got away. But then I went on a mission down here with the paper tuner and pulled out the paper tuner and set it up. I thought, I'm going to see what's going on with it. So I shot through paper, fletched arrows through paper. You can only control so much. You can only do so much. So take advantage of shooting through paper, screwed the field tips on, shot through paper, and had an ugly looking tear. Really ugly. So I made some adjustments, shot it again. The tear started to get better. 7 shots, I had that thing just about a perfect bullet hole. Perfect bullet hole. I had to lower my rest, so I must have tweaked my rest up. Plus,
I did. Before after you shot the doe?
This was after I shot at the doe.
After, okay.
After. So that arrow was heading the right direction, but it was not heading there as efficiently as it possibly could.
That doesn't
help
your case, yeah.
No. But either way, I have a lot more confidence in where my arrow's going now because I did all my tweaking. I shot it out to 20 yards. I'm right on the money at 20 yards. I'm going to take it out in the yard probably tomorrow afternoon when I get home. If conditions allow, and I'm going to try and arrow a couple out at 30 just to make sure we're on the money at 30. Then I'm set.
Not a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, especially through brushing.
I got my bow all,
Sorry, go ahead, Noah.
I got my bow all tuned up now. And, speaking of the rut, I got some pictures in last night from my trail cams. And my number 2 buck was spent about probably an hour sniffing around some does on one of my food plots.
So
it's happening.
Number 2 is going to get promoted to number 1 here.
Whoever shows up first is going to be number 1.
That's right.
That's how it is. I mean, I have my number 1, but if number 2 shows up, he's getting an arrow.
Damn right.
It's pretty hard.
You got to give some. You got to take some.
Stick them, Noah. Stick them. I want to see a bloody arrow sticking out of that food plot soon.
Oh, for sure.
Cool, man.
Keep on keeping on, buddy.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Good luck.
Yep. Bye.
Good to hear from people.
Yeah. So, Greg, do you think yours was tweaked before you took your doe shot?
Yeah, because that's when I that was the morning of that hunt is when I had the mishap with the bow rope getting tangled in something, whether it was
even
around.
You having a tweaked bow is still probably better than most people's shit.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just thinking like of the scenario. He shoots
But
a hole.
Yeah.
So like, even if your arrow's hitting a dot at 20 yards, but your arrow's doing this through brush,
if it's kicking,
it's going to hit
tail
more because it's traveling 4, 5, 6 inches. If it's flying like a bullet, it's traveling 1 inch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you're going to hit shit if your bow's not tuned.
Yeah,
and
fish-tailed into something.
Yeah, it's just more error possible.
It's getting there a little more sideways than I want it to be, and if you ever question your bow, don't be afraid to tear into it. Don't be afraid to put some paper up in a frame and shoot through it. You only got to be 10 yards from the target.
Don't be afraid to knock on Greg's door and have him help you out.
You might throw some paper in a frame, shoot through it, and that be your new
living
room decor.
How do you like that paper in the frame?
I'm telling you what, it's nice because I've had one out of PVC for a little while, and it kind of fell apart. I cobbled one together out of some scrap lumber I had laying around, and it worked, and I just shot through whatever, I don't know, I think it was some tablet paper or something, and it kind of worked. But, Paper Tuner reached out to us and said, hey, we can send you guys one. Tell us what you think. So I'm going to have Eric over with his new arrows. Derek can come over. Maybe we need to have a little quick bow tune-up party or something. Matt will come over. We'll run some arrows.
Beers, regardless of
maybe.
I got to get rid of that second guessing that goes on all the time.
Well, and that's just it. Shooting through paper, it does get rid of the second guessing. You know that your point of impact is going to be right because all your adjustments will be made once you get that bullet hole through paper.
Yeah. That's cool. It's cool. It's interesting you say in PVC, some scrap wood, scrap lumber. The way that this thing rolls, you just pull it down, you're good to go, right? Like it's
literally a nice frame made out of plexi and some other type of plastic, and it's got hardware in it to tighten the frame up, and it's basically a piece of carbon. It's carbon arrow, as a matter of fact, is what it looks like, with a roll of paper on it, and you just pull it down through the frame. You tighten the frame up with the hardware. It hangs with some nice adjustable, like paracord almost, and it's got magnets. So all I got to do is just pop the magnets off, and I can store it away. It's not hanging from my choice space, and I can just shoot at my range here in the basement without having that hanging there.
It's cool. It's a good little setup you got there.
It's slick.
Tinker.
What broadheads are you shooting, by the way, Greg? Are you still shooting?
I've tried something new this year. I've got the Grizzly Stick, Silver Flame. I shot a Maasai that I really liked, but I couldn't get the 125s, so these were 200s. And I have Samurai, all from Grizzly Stick.
Yeah.
Yep, all Grizzly Stick stuff. Giving them a try. Them iron wheels are pretty hard to beat for durability. I'm not going to lie. So
cool.
Well, you fling and miss as much as you do.
Durability counts.
Durability counts.
I'm a one and done kind of guy. It's either lost and gone, or I'm not going to retire that arrow anyways.
Yeah. Well, I'm shooting lighted nines this year too. Wise ass.
Yeah, better be a smart ass than a dumbass. You
know? Well, one could be said. Well, you better be careful with that.
Gotta. I'm just doing some sparring for deer camp. That's all.
You could qualify.
You guys are doing gun camp together,
Greg's
right?
coming to gun camp.
That's awesome.
Said no yet. He just keeps nodding his head and smiling. That's the same reaction I get every time I bring it up. I think he's gonna tell me no last minute. I'm not gonna let him. He's right on the way. I'm just gonna go to his house and pick him up.
Just kidnap him.
Yeah, pretty much. Like a scene from Old School. We just rip him into the van.
Yes, but don't rip him into the van. Strap him to the hood of your Fusion.
Oh, jeez.
Greg would make.
I'm riding on the hood of Bluey all the way.
There it is. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I think Jace is coming. As far as I'm aware, it sounds like he's going to make it, so that'll be a good time too. He's a good dude to have along for.
Cool.
Stuff. These camera guys we've been hanging out with, they're a good group of dudes.
If we could get Keegan to come, that'd be awesome. Also,
I'm not sure. He may be. I felt bad.
Then again,
he followed me into some nasty shit.
Send him up north with me.
It wasn't. He was like, dude, bro, I thought you had to like hunt the deer, not scare them all out of here.
It's all right. I made Jace walk about 6 miles in brush and nastiness. So
6 miles, Greg. What the? That's a long distance. Are you kidding me? Was it really 6 miles?
Yeah, that's what the little mile counter said, was about 6 miles.
No way.
Yahweh. Sake.
I've ran 6-7 miles. That's long, man.
This was through canary grass. At least three of it was through canary grass. Oh yeah, we both had sore legs after that one.
I had sore legs after Saturday. Sunday, I was walking around with sore legs because I trunched that whole fucking property.
That's because you got those little bitch hips.
Yeah.
Make sure you get the upper inner thigh massage going after that.
Holy crap. Anyway, I don't know. This is it. Like, I'm on PTO for the next week.
Yeah, so what's the plan? Just a quick rundown. What is the
what is the plan?
What does the plan look like?
I don't know. The plan is to just keep scouting my way into places and try to make do with what I got. I think I'll give this property that I hunted today another go. Tomorrow I'll just press in a little deeper. I'm not feeling great about it. I have not also looked at the forecast for the wind, so that may change. Yeah. I have a couple others. I want to do it on my own to some degree. Like, I know you'd help me out, and Greg offers to have me come up by him, and I'll take you guys up on that when I can. I also have it.
I totally get that.
I also want to like figure it out. I think I know enough to figure it out.
You for sure do.
I don't know. My plan is I have like, I'm playing the public land game, you know, but the big property you're hunting, man, like, I don't know. That's a whole nother freaking level.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but it's not.
It's not, like, man.
You just got to think about it differently.
Yeah, just think about it differently.
I haven't hunted the Northwoods since I was a kid, like, and I didn't know what I was doing back then at all. So I just went where my dad told me to go. He would hang my stand for me even. No,
Couldn't hang your stand now because there's no loop. Thanks a lot, Matt.
yeah, damn it. I got to figure that out. I don't know if it's fixable or not. Like, he really did a number on that thing.
It's fixable. All you need is just a chunk of doweling that's small enough to fit through that finger trap and the rope.
I put a link in the YouTube comment. My dad put it. He's watching clearly because he's like, he gets mad when I don't remember stuff.
Good luck, Chuck.
It's like, it's called a deer meat rope. It's called a deer meat rope. That's what it's called. It's a deer meat rope on step. And that's what it is. And I have one of those left from my olden days hunting where I had a satchel full of those things, like a postman's satchel. And now I have one, and that's my bow hook. And it's great because it's super freaking sturdy and it can go on any tree anyway. And it's on public land. You can't screw in anything. So it's nice.
Perfect.
But I imagine there's probably something else I could maybe look at getting.
I like that.
But
I like that hanger from Good Sip Mobile that I have.
Well, maybe I got to talk to him, Brian.
Yep.
You got a nice buck.
Brian got an awesome
one
buck
today.
He used the shooter buck grunt tube, he said.
Yeah, Matt's shooter buck grunt tube did the trick. Shot a beauty.
Yep.
Looked like it was into the 140s for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him.
Greg, what's your plan? What's the next week or two look like for you?
I'm not going to be able to hunt probably till Friday afternoon, evening. Yeah, probably evening. I'm going to try and get out for a Saturday morning hunt. And we'll see what Saturday evening brings. It's supposed to warm up, too. So we're supposed to be, I think, in the 50s, maybe almost 60. I don't think that's going to... I don't think it's going to kill the deer movement by any means.
I don't think that... I mean, 70s is terrible.
Yeah, but 60...
I don't want to run around the winter coat either. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
50's good.
Could be better, could be worse.
If something past the ears comes out, it's probably going to get an arrow thrown in it.
Are you looking at the private? Are you looking at the public? A little bit of both? What are you thinking?
Well, most of the deer I'm hunting bed on public anyway. Most of them. So, and there's a strong chance that the deer I'm going to have to take a shot at will be on public from the private.
God, you make me nervous again. There you go, holding that fucking broadhead in your hand.
It's fine. It's just the test head. It's okay. See? It's fine.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's not bleeding. It's all good.
It's not bleeding that much.
Terrifying. I'm on a call with like a prospect with him, and he's just pointing this thing around. I'm like, God, just put it down.
He's just shaving. It's not a big deal.
It's just shaving, It's just a little bit of shaving here.
You gotta be careful when you're shaving the car with those.
Yeah, you got to be real careful. Don't hit any bumps. Stay away from potholes. You'll be fine.
Well, thanks for everyone that called in. It's good to hear from folks. This is I'm pretty jacked. We're gonna do. I don't think we have any. I do have one guest slotted for like end of November. I gotta look. But I tried to like give us some space from guests so we could just do our thing, have people call in. I think my perception is this is what I think. I think when we have guests, people aren't as inclined to call in because they don't want to interrupt the conversation unless they have a really on point call or question for that guest or brand or whoever it is. So I wanted to create some space through this time of the year, now that we're in it, to have just the three of us yahoos doing what we do, having fun talking about our season.
It's the rut.
It's the rut. Like, let's freaking go,
man.
It's the rut.
This is our time. And have our phone lines be open to take calls, to talk to everybody, to see how it's going. Like, let's hear your stories. Let's hear your encounters. Let's hear what's going on. Like from, I don't know, wherever you're calling from. And then I think I got to run this by my wife. She's not going to be super thrilled about it, I don't think. But
they usually aren't.
The week of the gun opener, the preceding week leading up to it, I want to do the what are you going, what are you bringing episode again with my buddies that go to gun deer camp, bring them in studio here for a fun opportunity to take those calls. That's a fun episode. I stole that from Bob and Brian. I don't know if they still do it. They did a number of years ago. Where are you going, what are you bringing? But we do it because we can.
Hell
and
yeah.
It's like, I'm going to this county, I'm bringing this beer, and this is my gun. Like, kind of, it's just fun. And at that point, I think last week I got pretty sauced up on that episode.
Whoops.
Yeah.
That will happen.
Yeah, made for a real nice...
How much Malort was consumed?
Too much.
Or
if
not
anything...
enough?
No, if
not any on the episode.
If there was an ounce consumed, that was too much.
Everyone had a shot at deer camp, and people were not happy with me.
Oh, that is rough.
It was for anyone that didn't fill a tag, which is everybody. The first day, and it was not. I was like, "Well, I regret this decision."
All those who do not fill a tag, drink a shot. All those
Yeah.
who do fill a tag drink too.
Ooh. Surprise. Yeah. No, so anyway.
Yikes.
I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. I don't know. I'm follow along. I'll go live again tomorrow or post more shit to my Instagram stuff. And if you're curious to see how I'm doing, and you guys, if you want to share stuff, like send it my way. I'll put it out there.
Cool.
Nice.
I don't want to overshare. I don't want to like share too much about where I'm at.
I'm heading to Illinois Friday.
Yeah,
nice
for you.
Yeah, bought a decoy. I'm bringing the decoy with me.
What'd you name him?
Oh, good question. I got to name it yet.
Yeah, that has to be official.
Oh, I need some help, gentlemen.
Okay.
Fred.
No, I think we're going to name him.
You can call him Malort.
I was going to say, what's a little nickname for Malort?
Schlitz.
Because it could be the worst thing that buck ever tastes if he comes up for it. You know, like, well,
You can call him Maul for sure.
Malort. You can name him Jepson.
Jepson.
Yeah.
My mom has a weird story about a guy named Audie Jepson. He used to own a collar dealership, so Jepson it is. Jepson. Old Jepson.
Now you got to write it on his belly in Sharpie. Jepson.
Jepson. Yep.
Let's see what Jepson can do for you this weekend. I mean, hopefully it's a good outcome because like it's a little taboo naming him Jepson potentially. Jepson's Malort. But
I think it's gonna be.
And if he does his job, you probably got to go buy some freaking Malort.
Well, I'll try my best.
I do have some Malort bourbon in here.
Yeah,
it's actually Jepson's bourbon, but it's not Malort. It's actually not bad.
Oh,
so if you wanted to bring some Jepson's bourbon for good luck, that's not nearly as bad.
Oh, well, that's endearing. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anywho, well, all right. Well, I'll cut it so everyone can get the heck out of here. We can get up in the morning and do our jobs and go to the deer woods and whatever we're doing. So, thanks, Greg, for tuning in remotely. You son of a bitch.
Hey, man, it was worth it. I saw a deer tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You did good. Good luck out there, man. Whack a big one.
Thank you. I'm hoping so.
Or a little one, or whatever.
Whatever you're gonna do.
I'm not feeling a little one, so I'm gonna shoot what gets me excited. If it's past the ears, it'll get me excited.
You get a knife in your hand and you get a little one, that'll feel exciting. You're eating out of your hands. I think if you just fucking ride one and stab it in the throat, you might set a new record.
So
I tried with this little buck. Yeah, well, I stabbed it in the throat with a knife.
That's why he's always carrying those broadheads.
Yeah,
practicing the jab technique.
Gotcha, you son of a bitch. All right.
Anywho.
I'm going to cut the live. We'll see you guys.
All right. See ya.